answer leads to this next question because you mentioned the white tees and these independent artists. So I'm gonna skip and I'm gonna go right to this one. In your opinion, will the major labels continue to be the #1 outlet for artists? Or will the indie movement continue to get stronger and eventually be the primary route to take for success in the industry? What do you think, Christine?
That's a loaded question, but I think a few things. I think that there's still, the big, majors are kind of struggling and they're dying out, but at the same time, that's like the largest form of distribution and exposure that, most artists have right now. Through the internet and everything, I think that indie channels are really accessible for anybody who wants to be an artist. You could really reach the world through the internet and everything. I think the thing that I want to bring up is what he was saying before about the merger between artist and corporation. I see a lot of things where the artist is now having a deal with, a headphone company or some type of, sneaker or something like that, so where they get a deal to do their artistry in the form that they want, as long as, or there might be some, guidelines, you can't do this, you can't do that, but if you structure your deal right, I think that there's a lot of corporation and artist, deals kind of going on, and I think that might be the way of the future. I don't know exactly how I feel personally about that. I think they have the money, the corporations have a lot of money, and they can fund the artists and music, so it would be a natural place to go. But at the same time, if too many corporations have control over artists' work, I think that might pose another change in the industry as we go along.
Right, because you see now a lot of, like Celine Dion did her deal with the car company, I believe it was. So you got a lot of cross branding, so to speak. And I think it's important to pay attention to what they're saying because this is what I do. I have a magazine, I have a partner, we manage artists that are signed, I'm a singer. I don't even know what I am anymore. You know what I mean? So that's what, this is what, you know what I mean? You want it, as long as I'm in the entertainment business, I'm great. I didn't know any of these people before, well, some of you before today, but I met through what I'm doing right now. So I always tell people, so why do you give the panels? I'm giving them for the same reason that you should attend them, to network and meet new producers and new writers and new people. So it's important to do the cross-brand. Just don't think you're going to be a singer or you just want to be a rapper because you really, it's very difficult. I'm going to tell you that. I mean, you have tons and tons of competition. So go to school, get a formal education on some of the things in the industry that you might want to do, and you're still in the door. You're still in Sony Records, you're just in marketing. See what I mean? And now you know somebody from Atlantic, so.
So, okay. I think that majors will never go away. I think that the independent market will continue to get stronger. I think it's going to become a dichotomy of the independents who will do at a marginal level, relatively, their type of music, and then there's going to be a new type of major company. I don't think it's going to be the traditional major company as we see it today. I was just reading a story about, I want to say his first name is Abraham Azoff. Azoff is his last name. He just did a deal. He's in the management business. He manages artists. A lot of big names actually. And he just did a partnership with Madison Square Garden. They're calling this entity AMSG. Now, why is that important to us? Because this is what the business model, I think, of the next major label is going to be. So basically, in that entity, they have already baked in the artist management and development, and with MSG, they have all of the concert. MSG owns a number of properties across the country. So now they have, if I'm signed to that company, They're going to develop me, they're going to manage me, and they're going to put me in concerts, right? Distribution is digital for the most part. Physical distribution is still very significant. So all of the majors will be falling over themselves to do a deal with a company like that to get a piece of the pie that they're already getting. So that's already baked in. To what Justine is saying, you know, we're talking about artists and branding. And that model, that is really kind of the future of what we're going to look at. Record companies are no longer going to be record companies that press up vinyl and CDs and whatnot. They're going to be brand companies that actually work with the artists to actually brand you, develop you, put you out, couple you with other corporations for, you know, headphones and things like that. I mean, do people know that Polygram is owned by, or was owned by Samsung, I believe, right? Sony, right? So Sony, the record label, is owned by Sony, the corporation, right? That's headphones, that's laptops. So you have, you already have that model taking shape. You know, a lot of these record companies have parent companies that are already in electronics. So that's what I believe that we're in for.
Good example is Justin Timberlake buying up 30% of MySpace. Smart move. Also creative director for Bud Light Dark. That's why you see his commercials. He's budgeting his own commercials. So it's, you know, it's smart. I'm creative service director for the magazine. I don't even know what that means, but you know, I'm just saying in the sense to say you want to continue to broaden yourselves out in the entertainment field.
Okay. I don't have as much information as Lou here, but clearly the majors are not going anywhere. But I think when it comes to independence, it gives more creative control to the artists. So that's something that you really have to think about as an artist when you are deciding whether or not you want to go independent or whether or not you want to push the shop to a major label. Understand that when you get with a major, they're going to take control of the project and they are not going to release anything that their board is not comfortable with. And that's what it is. Deal with it. You signed a contract. If you want to maintain creative control, being independent is the best route to go. It'll probably take you longer to generate money, but when you do start generating the money, there's less people for you to share that money with. Because that money can come right from whatever venue you played, right into your pocket, rather than through a whole chain of command of management, this, that, and the third, and all of 50 other million people that got to get a piece of the dollar before you get your 1 cent. So, that's all I have to say for now.
So you heard, if you want to maintain that creative control, give it that independent. You may have a smaller budget, but you'll be happier. And you know, they're speaking from experience, and I can tell you, my partner Don can tell you, and Lou and Lucky, you know, working with, you know, we have a son, and so, you know, you do whole albums, and you know, the boys listening to it, and they loved it when you first sent it, like, oh man, we coming out this third quarter, we in there. Then you go back like, well, you know, so it happens like that. You're under their control. We still waiting to drop. And the kid, you know, kid's amazing. So these are the things that you're going to face. It's called corporate. It's called corporate.
And if I could add before we, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just one example, for those who have the inkling to be independent, it is possible to be incredibly successful independent if you keep on your grind. A gentleman, he's in this area. His name is Eric Roberson. Some of you might know who he is. He's independent not because he has to be. He's independent because he wants to be. And he puts out his own records all the time. And he's selling 20, 30,000 records a clip. That 30,000 is several $100,000 just in record sales that he does not have to share with anyone. Right? And to couple that, his fan base, he goes on tour. He tours a lot all over the world, and he's completely independent. You can catch him once a month at SOBs doing, you know, doing the showcases. Like, yeah, Soul Village, exactly.
Oh, I got a question. Does anyone know what's the biggest record company out here now?
Independently or major?
No, major. Who's the biggest major right now?
Universal.
Huh?
Universal.
No, iTunes. Oh, you think about that. iTunes is the biggest, you know. The record company, they didn't have faith in the internet. So I don't understand how they were stupid to let that whole thing go. Went right past them. Now, you know, iTunes is the biggest distributor of music right now. And you know, the labels, they didn't take heed of that because I don't understand. If I was Atlantic Records, I wouldn't sell my stuff through iTunes. They would have to come to my store and buy. And they still, you know, and what, you know, all of these big labels have catalog. They could just keep repackaging and reselling. But as far as like, you know, being independent, it's a good time right now because all you have to do, like the whole thing about, you know, just doing a demo and shopping a deal, I don't know if it's dead, but to me, I figure it is. The best thing to do, you as an artist, you have to build your own company, build your own self up. You have to make yourself sellable in the market in order to make yourself look attractive. The more sellable you are, and the more units you sold yourself, the more value. The higher and you can ask for, you know, you can start writing your own checks and ask for how much you want. So, you know, if you're a company that's already built, like if you're a ship that's already selling, people want to add cargo into it. Nobody wants to build a ship. Look at it like that. So, you know, I think that this day is interesting. Back when I was doing it, you know, it was a lot of money to do everything. It was a lot of money to buy DACs, tapes, you know, 2-inch, like I said, you know, just that process. But now, you know, I mean, technology made things easier, but you had a lot more clown shit going on, you know. We need, you know, I mean, the type of music we doing is kind of destroyed now. Because, like, you know, I keep hearing the same thing over and over again. Well, it got to have the South, it got to be like a South record. It got the hi-hat, got to be, you know what I'm saying? It got to do that. And I'm saying, like, dog, I mean, like, why can't you just put out a record that, you know, people, nah, son, it got to be like this, you know? And I think that, you know, we destroying our own shit.
Man, that's a deep conversation.
But no, I don't want to get too deep. No, I get, yeah, that's too much. That's a little too much.
That's another pimp.
That's another Dude,
I feel you on that. That's another pimp. Woo.
You know, with all these great answers, I may have lost track of the question.
In your opinion,
But,
are labels still going to be the #1 outlet or independence?
yeah, the labels, I mean, what a label was when we started is very different now. Even though you still have Warner Brothers or Columbia, whatever, what their function is very different now than it was when we started. There's always going to be labels. Why not? If there's money to be made, they're going to figure out a way to do it. They may have missed the ball on the internet, but still, any major artist is going to be on a label because of all the things that you said that comes with that. And I think take the best deal that's in front of you at the moment. It doesn't matter to me whether it's independent or a major label. I mean, you got to look at what's in front of you at the moment and take advantage of it. Don't be afraid. I don't know. I'm not afraid of a little artistic control because I'm assuming that they've got your best interest in mind. I mean, maybe they don't, but they want to sell records. They don't want you to fail. So maybe what you're thinking is not exactly what they're thinking, but I don't know if you want to fight that all the time. I mean, there may be something. There may be something to what they want to do sometimes. But yeah, the ship has sailed. I mean, there's always going to be branding, and I mean that's always been. I mean, when I was really young, when I was in JVC Jazz Festival, right? Dr. Pepper Music Festival on the pier over here. I mean, there's always been that connection, and now it's just, it's inseparable. Red Bull has their own record label. Red Bull has their own wing. It's a record label. Vans. Sprite has Green Label. I mean that so yeah, some major labels are suffering, they're closing down, but it's turning into something else. whether you like it or not, that's where it's going. And I think that maybe you have some more choices now. So that's not a bad thing.
I think it's, you know, when Don and I were coming up, we got our deal, we were on our way to the Apollo, walking down the street singing. And I always thought that we drew the deal to us because of what you're saying. Like back in the day, you had the Chitlin circuit. You get in your car, and a lot of rock groups still operate this way. You get in your car and you just go. You know, you go to a city, you might sleep in somebody's living room, one of your fans. But now, like they're saying, is you can reach the world. But you can reach the world, and so can 100 million other people. So to stand out, you know, you got babies on YouTube getting famous from giggling. You know what I mean? Really. So to stand out, you really have to not just make those hit records, but you got to start thinking outside the box. Like, I didn't even know about Red Bull and Sprite. See, now I'm going to be going home like, oh, really? So, you know, now you might have a song that might fit for a Sprite commercial. So it's a lot of different ways to get out and really get out and get your name out there. Right?